Welcome to Disrespectfully Agree with Oatman and LJ. I'm LJ. Across me is Mr. Oatman.
I am Oatman in the house, baby. What's up?
I apologize in advance for Mr. Oatman. He's suffering from allergies at the moment.
Suffering is not even a word, baby.
So forgive him. This week, we are going to tackle Mission Impossible Fallout. If you've seen any of the previous Mission Impossibles, or at least the last three, you know what you're getting here. Tom Cruise is a secret agent. He is perhaps compromised, perhaps accused of being compromised. There's intrigue, a lot of twists, and it turns out Tom Cruise isn't a bad guy by the end. Who knew?
Who knew? Shocker. Do we really need spoiler alerts, Susan?
Yeah, well, a little bit. We'll have to get into spoilers a little bit later. We'll let you know when that happens. To start, Oatman, where are you at on the franchise?
I was shocked when I saw this film because I was so not in this Mission Impossible because it just always is the same story. It's the same, it never changes. I mean, you get a little bit of the bang for the buck. You get some good action scenes, but it's nothing that excites me. And I was surprised at how pleasurable I found some of the turns in this movie, even though none of them were surprising. All of them were cliche. There was nothing special. I mean, I should hate this movie, but I kind of enjoyed it. I went along with the ride. But I will tell you now, boy, there is no twist that you will not uncover immediately. I mean, you immediately know, okay, that's the guy. That's the one that's going to turn, and this is going to happen. I mean, there is no twist here that is hidden or particularly well executed. It's just a very well done action movie with really great action sequences. I like some of the foot chases. I like the car chases. There's a really kick-ass helicopter chase in here, which I thought was particularly well done. But short of that, there's nothing surprising here. There's nothing new, but it is executed at such a high level. I did find some enjoyment with it. I wouldn't give it an A. I probably wouldn't even give it a B+, but I might give it a B- to a C+. I mean, you put it best, I think, LJ. You know what you're getting. It's like open up a can of Spam or something, when you're really hungry.
Put that on the Blu-ray cover.
Yeah, I mean, it's, you know what you're getting. You know what's good. You know what's bad. There's nothing new here. There are no twists and turns that will come close to surprising you.
I guess the whole episode is spoiler-filled. We're not doing any non-spoilers, I guess, for this one.
Warning.
So, enjoy.
I mean, I was literally sitting here, one of the first frames of the film. I leaned over to my wife who I went to go see it with, and I was like, that's not Wolf Blitzer. I mean, that's just not him. That didn't happen. There was early in the film, there is this sort of simulation of a catastrophe, or there's this idea that a catastrophe has occurred. I did not buy into the catastrophe for 1 second. I knew that the catastrophe was in some way some kind of fabrication. I was like, this early in the movie, this level of catastrophe, no. One of the characters in the film says it best. He says, you guys are just like guys who dress up for Halloween. And I kind of felt that line. And I felt like, yeah, this is just Halloween. I don't believe this. And I think that is unfortunate because I think some of that dramatic irony could really heighten the tension of a film. But none of it exists in Mission Impossible. You never buy the twists and turns that they try to feed you. It almost seems like they don't even really try hard. But it is a well-executed action film. It's good at that. Tom Cruise is great. He looks great. He moves great. His stunts are great. I enjoyed a lot of that.
This film, in the post-J.J. Abrams era of Mission Impossible, feels the most like an episode of G.I. Joe.
I get that. Yeah, there are no real stakes. It's almost in a...
it's very cartoony.
Cartoonish world.
The characters...
I agree.
That get tricked are tricked because they are cartoonishly stupid.
I agree.
And here's the thing I learned something about Ethan Hunt, the character in this movie, that I didn't know before. It turns out Ethan Hunt, I think, is a bad actor. Because he has to go undercover here, and you don't buy it for him. Every time something bad happens, he immediately looks like, oh, no, I can't allow this. He's very upset at the bad thing that happened, but his character would not be.
Exactly.
He is no poker face.
Exactly.
He's absolutely no poker face whatsoever.
Exactly. There are a couple times where he is supposed to be enticed into doing something bad. He doesn't want to do it. And he just looks like the most horrified person, which his character would not be.
No.
Yeah, he's a bad agent.
They set it up, and the opening scene in this film is Ethan Hunt making the wrong choice. He saves his team or one of his team members when he should have been saving the world. And instead of saving the world, he saves his team members, and nobody keeps their eye on the ball. They lose the nuclear ball, as it were. And Alec Baldwin says, you know what? You know why I believe in you? It's because you chose to save one man over millions.
Yeah, the stupidest, like, what?
Say again?
That's the stupidest line in the film. Like, what?
Say again, Baldwin?
Yeah, what? Baldwin says what? That's idiotic.
And Angela Bassett comes in with the correct interpretation of these events.
That's the job.
That's the job. So in addition, and he has a line later on where he says, I kill women and children with smallpox. And he said, I'm a bad man. It says something to that effect anyway. And you're like, no, is anybody buying this?
Well, not only that, and don't get me wrong, I don't need much to buy the I'm a madman trying to build a world up here, but there's no reason that there's never explained why they want to wipe out the world. It's funny in some ways. It's
because the world will be better. It's the Thanos. Thanos.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. It's a much more poorly executed Thanos kind of. But in Thanos, he really has a reason. Like he articulates it far more clearly. It's not articulated here. It makes no sense. They just we want a new world order. We're going to blow everything. It makes no sense, and it's not really well articulated of why they want to wipe out millions and millions and millions of people. And also in the Marvel film, there's this wonderful scene. I think it's one of the best scenes in the film where Thanos has done what he's had to do, and he's committed this atrocity for what he thinks is the betterment of the world. And he's sitting on this rock and he's actually reflecting. He's having like a moment in which he's reflecting, and it's almost it's a burden on him. He has to do it for the good of other people, but it's a burden. He doesn't want to necessarily do it. He feels that he must. None of that complexity is here with these guys. Well,
by contrast, the ultimate bad guy in this says, leave me here with the bomb because it's time for me to whatever. I'm done. This is the end of the line for me. And you're like, well, why is that? Well, I'm guessing the reason why is because this final chase scene is going to be way more complicated if we have two villains. We really need one.
It makes no sense.
Or at least two chase scenes instead of one. Okay, but in any case, let me say this. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
After all that, I mean, it's fun. Christopher McQuarrie wrote and directed this. He did the same for the last one. For me, Mission Impossible didn't become Mission Impossible until 3, when J.J. Abrams took over. And I think that's probably the best in the series. After that, Brad Bird took over, and that one's fine. Christopher McQuarrie took over, and he's done a decent enough job, I guess, for what this is.
Yeah.
But it's impossible, pardon the pun, to keep the stories straight anymore.
Yeah.
Everything meshes into each other.
There's no attempt.
It's also samey.
There's no attempt to do anything fresh.
No.
I mean, just no attempt. I mean, put it in space. I don't care what you do, but just do something that's different. But I think it was one of those things where it's like, hey, we're just going to give you what you want.
Yeah.
And we're not going to try to make it different. We're not going to, we're going to give you great action sequences, the action sequences are amazing.
They're amazing. I'll give them credit for that and the practical effects and the practical stunts. I love that stuff. That's all great.
It's awesome.
But what made Mission Impossible 3, in my opinion, the best is the human element. There were characters there. There were stakes there with people and characters we cared about and we were concerned about, and there was actual drama and tension between those characters. There's none of that here.
When they have that scene where Ving Rhames sits down and talks to...
Ving Rhames is a damsel now, by the way.
Yeah, he really is. He's always getting kidnapped.
He does nothing. The guy held a gun to his back. He's just like, what
do I do here?
No, help me.
But
Come on, Ving, you're a trained agent. What the hell?
Yeah, when he has that scene and he's talking to her, talking about Ethan and his emotional stuff, I'm like, this is the most ridiculous scene. Why is this in the film? Why are we pretending that there are characters here? Why are we taking time out so you can talk about Ethan Hunt's heart? I mean, it was so ridiculous.
Which brings me to Michelle Monaghan, who I think is a good actress who never really got her due. She was in Mission Impossible 3, that's where she was introduced. We've seen her here and there post then. Great in Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. And ever since then, she's just kind of been sidelined, and she is again here. I mean, she's back briefly, but wasted. Again, it's the only reason we care about these characters is because, if we do at all, is because of Mission Impossible 3, and they're just resting on those laurels.
Well, yeah, I mean, you can almost insert any actor in this film, and it really won't make a difference. I mean, insert Pretty Girl here. I mean, she brings nothing to it. I did like the agent character who was a female.
She was in the previous film. She was good in that, too.
She was very good. I enjoyed her.
She's better in that, because, there's more of a character in the previous film.
Yeah, there's more of her but I mean, it was, having said all that, I think it's an enjoyable film. It's it's a matinee kind of film. You want to go enjoy a Saturday night with some action and some bangs and some thrills, go for it.
But this is not a movie I will own.
No, it's not a movie that I will own, and it's not a movie I will watch again.
I don't think so either. Mission Impossible 3 is a movie I return to now and again.
Yep.
And this one I won't. Even the Brad Bird film I'll occasionally return to, but it's just not. This is as disposable as it comes.
I agree.
Is Tom Cruise, can he run still?
He runs pretty damn good.
He runs amazing. He runs better than I can, but I feel like this is the first sign of the Tom Cruise run might not be what it used to be anymore.
I don't know. He looked pretty damn good in this film. I mean, those scenes where he's running across that roof, my goodness, it looks good to me.
By the way, why did we have to have all that running when a car would have...
Because it looks cool.
Oh, right.
No other reason.
Okay, right.
But I mean, I
apologize.
I think he runs great. He looks great.
He's still the best runner in the business, but I'm worried his running days are starting to wane.
No, he looked pretty good in this film.
He's 5 years older than Wilford Brimley was when he shot Cocoon.
Really?
Can you believe that?
No, he's not.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Put that in your noggin.
Boy, that's a head.
Ponder that one.
Yeah, that's a head. He's 5 years older.
Yeah.
No.
Yep. Now, I think we need to talk about the elephant in the room on this film. I am not a huge fan of Hans Zimmer.
Hans Zimmer, the bad guy?
No. He is...
Oh, that's the music. Is that the score?
The composer.
Oh, my God. You and this composer.
You need to get off my back about composer talk.
My Lord in heaven. That's the elephant in the room.
This is what everybody has been waiting for.
I was just talking to my dudes the other day. Man, that Hans Zimmer is on some bullshit. I can't stand it.
People love the Hans Zimmer. I'm not a huge fan. His modus operandi is a lot of... May I?
Go for it.
May I, please?
Yeah, you may.
His modus operandi is a lot of repeating phrases and escalating tones to more or less increase or heighten the drama. He's not that into melody or themes, with some exceptions. He's done some good work. Well, the height of his kind of tone stuff is Inception, just that increasing, pulsy, kind of just repetitive noise thing, which is effective in its own right. Sherlock Holmes, his work on that actually is quite interesting. He's got some interesting themes and phrasing going on there. But as much as I'm not a fan of Hans Zimmer, I despise Hans Zimmer copycats.
There is such a thing.
That's who conducted the score for this film. Lorne Balfe, if I'm saying that correctly, or Lorne Balfe. He has worked under Hans Zimmer on films. He's done what I think the technical term is work Hans Zimmer didn't want to do on his own films. Some extra additional compositions for things like the Sherlock Holmes movies and Inception and so forth. He's a lone composer on this movie, and it is boring. It is as dull as could be. It is the worst kind of Hans Zimmer copycat schlock. And the only time anything in the score works here is when they cut to the actual theme. When the Mission Impossible dun 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 kicks in. That's the only part.
Who on God's green earth would even know this?
What do you mean?
I mean, who would know this?
What you got to stop asking the same question every time this comes up.
You're right.
It's not going to change.
Okay, it's not going to change.
There are fans. There are people who pay attention to this stuff.
I guess.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm one of them.
Score nerds.
Or people who just appreciate film and the way it is conducted and composed.
Fair enough.
And it's there for a reason. And when it's not well done, I have a problem with it.
All right, fair enough. Fair enough.
That's it. I'm done.
So to conclude,
Oh, it's fine. The film is fine. It's enjoyable. Tom Cruise is good. But of all the Mission Impossible movies, this is the one that has the least character stuff in it.
I agree. I think it's the most cartoonish, and that's really saying something for a film that is so incredible and impossible in its scope to begin with. But this is definitely the most cartoony. I agree with that 100%.
I would hope for better next time around. If they do another one, I imagine they would.
I agree.
Be sure to subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, Google Play Music, wherever podcasts are sold for free. Our website, disagreepodcast.com. And do us all a favor and tell a friend about the show. Just one person, friend, loved one, family member, somebody you think might like it. Just tell them about the show. It's the only way we'll really be able to grow this thing.
Or if you hate the show, tell an enemy.
Oh, yeah. That mathematically works. And with that, we will talk at you next week. Bye.
Peace and chicken grease. How was Wilford Brimley?
I don't know. I have to look it up. I mean, at the time?
Yeah.
We want to take some. You want to take a moment to? I'll look this up. Hold on.
No, we can do it later. But
Okay.
I just found it interesting.
I mean, I could be wrong. That is my
That
understanding.
could be true, or LJ could be lying.
I'll cut that out if I'm wrong.
Let's play our favorite game.
Let's assume it's right.
Okay, let's assume.
Let's assume LJ's right. That's the way I like to live.
Yes, LJ is the light in the way. You're right.